Let's have ourselves a little seasonal festive debate around exercise technique and movement variation, which is always a controversial topic. Here we have a video of Jessica smashing out some squats and achieving her personal best of 65 kilograms, which is objectively awesome. Well done, Jessica. But as usual, instead of the internet being encouraging and supportive, all the so-called movement experts jumped into her comments to panic, catastrophize, and criticize her form and technique. One of the more lengthy comments on Jessica's post was this one by a so-called rehab and injury prevention coach, who goes on to say in a very drawn out and patronizing manner that Jessica's squatting is poor but also risky for eventually causing issues and injuries later on. However, this comment is ill-informed, and my attempts to discuss and highlight this have been met with deflection, diversion by this coach, which has been frustrating, but to be expected. And that's because, contrary to popular belief and what this person believes, there is just no good robust research or data out there that shows doing squats with knee valgus or hip shifts or butt winks causes more injuries either immediately or later on in time. And I've posted about this many times before, yet people just fail to acknowledge or accept it. The belief that aesthetically pretty looking exercises are better and safer is just so strong that no amount of discussion, debate or data is going to change many people's minds. Now, a lot of people will say that the absence of evidence here doesn't equal evidence of absence, and I do in a way partly agree. Because I can't say with full confidence that squats performed like this that Jessica's doing is perfectly safe. But that's no different with squats performed in any other way. What I can say with much more confidence is that no musculoskeletal issue or injury occurs because of one sole isolated factor like how you squat. All musculoskeletal pathologies and injuries are complicated and multifactorial. And despite claims about moving with perfect alignment, it's not any guarantee to reduce your chances or risks of encountering any of them. Now, this rehab specialist also goes on to say that Jessica should not be attempting any personal bests with squatting form like this, and that she should only progress her loads once she has improved her technique. This, again, in my opinion, is ill-informed and ignorant advice. A lot of trainers and therapists freak out whenever they see somebody exercising with heavy loads out of alignment, not only because they think this is more dangerous and risky, but also because they think it reinforces poor or bad movement strategies. Many trainers and therapists believe that how a person moves currently somehow predicts how they're going to move in the future. This mindset and way of thinking totally fails to recognise or understand the basic principles of human motor learning, adaptation and self-organisation to movements. Humans have an amazing ability to learn how to move both effectively and efficiently when they are simply given enough time and exposure to practice that movement and adapt to it. Now, this was perfectly demonstrated by Jessica herself in another video here that she posted of her squatting the same weight 2 months later after her first video. Fortunately, Jessica ignored all of the criticisms and negative advice and continued to squat heavily regularly, and you can clearly see how her squatting has changed all on its own with nothing more but repeated exposure to the same tasks and loads, allowing her to become stronger and more experienced at this task. Many coaches and trainers think that by restricting others from doing exercises that look ugly under heavy loads and higher intensities, they reduce their risks of injury and moving poorly. When actually, all they're restricting is a person's chances of progressing and adapting and getting more experienced and stronger at moving more effectively. What actually limits people from progressing isn't their bad form when they're exercising. It's coaches scaring people away from training hard and moving differently. That's not sensible injury prevention. That's fear, anxiety and nocebo dressed up as good coaching. So let me know what you think of Jessica's squats and what your advice would be in this situation in the comments below. And I'll go and get my popcorn ready, and I look forward to the debates and the discussions in the comments.